What if a quiet, almost mundane decision was made by a grumpy, 51-year-old Austrian customs officer named Alois Hitler? Yes, that Hitler, walking home after a long day of stamping papers and scowling at travelers who dared to look suspicious. The year is 1888. The setting, a small Austrian village. Alois and Clara strolled, romance blooming. Alois, feeling a certain friskiness after a day of enforcing regulations, tugs Clara toward their home. But then, plot twist, they make a pit stop at the local pharmacy. 1 box of condoms, please. Yes, condoms existed in 1888. They weren't the sleek latex of today. In fact, they were often made of linen soaked in antiseptic solutions, or you could splurge for those crafted from sheep intestines. Not exactly the Durex or Trojans we're familiar with, but they did the job. One small moment. One missing connection. And just like that, the sperm that would have become history's most infamous dictator took a detour into oblivion. No Adolf. No tiny, angry baby with a future passion for world domination. Clara might have had other children, perhaps a bookish son who wrote poetry, a daughter who painted landscapes, but not him. Fast forward to 1924 Munich. The air in a crowded beer hall is thick with the smell of stale beer and seething discontent. Germany is still reeling from the bitter defeat of World War I, the humiliation of the Treaty of Versailles, a constant gnawing wound. In this charged atmosphere, a charismatic war veteran named Gregor Strasser steps onto a makeshift stage, his voice igniting the volatile crowd. Germany has been betrayed. We must reclaim our glory. The crowd roars, a visceral chorus of anger and resentment echoing through the smoky hall. But here's the crucial difference. Without Adolf lurking in the back, without that singular voice to channel and amplify this rage, the Nazi party fizzles. There's no charismatic demagogue to stoke the flames, no unifying figurehead for this brand of toxic nationalism. No Hitler means no Holocaust. The systematic, industrialized murder of 6 million Jews never happens. Anne Frank, instead of hiding in an attic, might publish her diary as The Backyard Chronicles, or perhaps pursue a career in literature or journalism, living a full, vibrant life. Millions of other lives, artists, scientists, families, children, are never murdered. No World War II as we know it. While the underlying tensions in Europe might still simmer, the specific catalyst and the brutal, all-consuming nature of World War II are averted. The world doesn't plunge into the same global conflict. No United Nations. This is a complex one. The UN was born directly from the ashes of World War II, a desperate attempt by nations to create a framework to prevent future global conflicts and foster international cooperation on issues like peace, security, and human rights. In this timeline, without the devastating catalyst of World War II, the momentum for forming such a global body might never arise. The UN, a positive outcome born from immense tragedy, might simply not exist, along with all the good deeds it has accomplished in promoting global cooperation and peace. Instead of 193 nations united together, there may be many smaller alliances around the world. No atomic bombs on Japan. The horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are averted. However, the intense pressure of World War II, particularly the race to develop such devastating weapons, significantly accelerated the invention of nuclear technology. In this timeline, nuclear weapon technology is eventually invented, but likely years, or even decades, later. No Cold War. The existential threat of nuclear annihilation between the US and the Soviet Union never materializes. No Cuban Missile Crisis. No proxy wars fought over ideological divides. Tom Clancy, instead of writing about nuclear submarines and espionage, might have to find something else to write about. Tech takes a coffee break. For better or worse, war often provides immense boosts to technology and innovation. World War II was no exception. Think of the rapid advancements in radar, jet engines, guided weapons, helicopters, the mass production of penicillin, saving countless lives, and of course, the solution to everything: duct tape. Without the urgent demands of a global conflict, these innovations would likely have emerged much more slowly. The internet? Delayed. While the foundational research for what would become the internet was already underway, the massive investment and drive for communication and data sharing during the Cold War significantly sped up its development and widespread adoption. In this timeline, it'd eventually come, but it'd probably still be tying up phone lines, and we'd still be yelling for our sibling to get off the computer. The space race? Slowed to a crawl. Without the intense competition and ideological rivalry between the US and the Soviet Union, the massive investments and rapid advancements in space exploration that defined the mid-20th century might never have happened, or at least not at the same pace. Israel might not exist. The establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 was deeply intertwined with the aftermath of World War II and the Holocaust. Without that specific historical context, the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East would be vastly different, leading to a different, and perhaps equally complicated, Stalin and the Soviet Union. Without Nazis to fight, turns his attention elsewhere. Where? Who knows? Perhaps he focuses more intensely on internal purges, or maybe his ambitions shift towards Asia or different parts of Europe. The geopolitical map of the 20th century would be redrawn in ways we can only speculate about. But let's not sugarcoat it. Humanity's worst impulses, greed, hatred, the lust for power, don't vanish simply because one man is never born. Other tyrants might rise, perhaps less overtly monstrous, but still capable of inflicting immense suffering. The world, in this scenario, never learns the full, terrifying cost of unchecked hatred and propaganda, because it never had that particular, horrifying example burned into its collective memory. Humanity might learn slower, its lessons harder won, without the darkest example to guide it. And yeah, no Auschwitz, no Dresden firestorms reducing a city to ash, no D-Day graves marking the beaches of Normandy. Millions wake up each morning in a world where their grandparents weren't erased, where their families weren't shattered by unimaginable barbarity. All because Alois Hitler made a choice one quiet evening in 1888. History doesn't just pivot on grand speeches or the thunder of gunfire. It's shaped by quiet, forgettable moments. The kind we never notice, the kind we never remember because nothing terrible happened afterward.